Hello everyone, it is the 4th of July and I'm about to go to my family's to celebrate. But before I did that, there's something really important that I wanted to do today with my wife. So my name is Gabriel Sandoval, I'm a teacher and my wife works for the state of California. Now, what this video is about is my wife and I becoming debt-free. Now, this journey, I want to say, started somewhere around 2.5 years ago, right before the pandemic. I was taking a Spanish class, and afterwards I went out for some drinks with some of the people in my class. And one of my friends, Matt, was kind of sprinkling in some financial literacy talk in the conversation. And going out for drinks, the kind of thing like that, in the past would really give me a lot of anxiety because, quite frankly, I knew that I didn't have a lot of money. I knew that I was broke and probably shouldn't be going out for drinks with friends. And one of the things that really struck me about Matt talking was that he was also a teacher because at that point in my life, I'd grown resigned to this idea that as a teacher, I was never really going to be able to have a lot of money or have financial freedom. And seeing that this is the life that this friend was living, this is a person who travels all the time, I really, for the first time, I saw what could be if I was able to get my finances in check. And so I went home and I started talking to my wife about this, and throughout the course of this conversation, the name of Dave Ramsey came up. And so we looked into that. I read the Total Money Makeover, and my wife did as well. And at that time, around 2.5 years ago, we decided, we're going to get on this journey. We are going to become debt-free. And in order to do that, it was very difficult because there were a lot of things that we had to give up. I want to say one of the most difficult things was not going on vacation, learning how to curb my spending. Personally, I like to shop, I like to spend, and so making that decision that was going to have to change. So it was really difficult to curb the spending for myself. I don't want to speak for my wife. I think that she's naturally been a better saver than spender, unlike myself. But one of the more difficult things was making this decision not to put a lot of things on hold, to put on hold taking vacations, renovating our home. We're at this point where we're going to have the money to be able to begin doing that. Now, over the span of the last 2 years or so, because quite frankly, I want to say maybe the first 3 to 4 months were about my wife and I really getting on the same page, cutting up our credit cards, committing to a life of no debt, and that took some time. And it took a lot of communication between my wife and I, but now we're at this point where our finances are combined, and as soon as we made that decision to really get on board and combine our finances, that's when things really changed for us. Now, I want to take you to earlier this year when I received news that we are going to be receiving $10,000 of student loan forgiveness. Now, this day, I celebrated. I told my students, what a big deal this was going to be for me and my family. And I wanted to use that opportunity to speak with my students. And I'm sure that at least a few of them were thinking to themselves, why is my theater teacher talking to me about personal finances? And the truth is that I see that if myself and my wife can have this kind of success, and we don't have a crazy income, and luckily our income has steadily grown over the span of those 2 years, as my wife has began working for the state and just recently gotten a new position where she's making a significant amount more money. And myself, obviously, as a teacher, you continually make more and more money. And so for those reasons, we've been able to increase our income over the past 2.5 years as well. And so over the last 2 years, we've been able to pay off / cash flow about $27,000. But we are not done, which brings me to today. Today, we pay off our very last bit of debt. And that last bit of debt, going back to the student loan forgiveness, are my student loans for exactly $15,762.44. Now, we had been saving knowing that this might happen. Now, don't get me wrong. I, like many of you, was hoping to receive that student loan forgiveness. But the truth is that, we knew that it was a possibility that it wouldn't happen. And so this was always the plan. We wait for the word from Washington. And once we receive that, we make our decision. And obviously, with us getting word this past week, we decided that it's time to pay off our last bit of debt. And so I wanted to, come on here and say that again, we're two people with very normal jobs. And if we're able to get out of debt, so can you. It's very possible. Now, the conversation with my students tends to focus around them going to school debt-free. And again, if you're a person out there who's struggling with your finances, don't hesitate to reach out, especially to any of my former students out there. I want you to succeed, and I know that you can succeed. Now, really, who this is for are the people out there who are recognizing that what they're doing is not working, because that's exactly the place that I found myself in 2.5 years ago, where I realized I am not the type of person who can have credit cards, pay them off regularly, and live like that. I remember that I got a credit card right out of high school going into college with a limit of about $2,000, and I ran that thing up right away. And I held on to that $2,000 worth of debt, maxed out credit card for the next 7 or so years. So again, I'm sure there are people out there who are more than capable of using credit cards, but I recognize that I was not one of those people. And so I decided to make a change. And so that's why today we are done. Today we're going to pay off all of our debt. And I encourage anybody out there who, like I said, for those people who what you're currently doing is not working for you, I encourage you to make that change. Because now, with absolutely no debt, we have a lot of financial freedom moving forward. In fact, we just got back from Mexico on a trip where we went to get my wife's passport, and we were able to pay for that trip completely in cash. And coming home and knowing that vacation isn't coming with us really allowed for us to enjoy ourselves that much more. And so I'm really looking forward to having the money to put towards renovating our home and creating this life that we really want and believe that we deserve. So I'm going to go get my wife. She did not want to be on video too much, but I wanted to make sure that she was with me while we make this last payment and become debt-free, because it is 100% a team effort. And I'll see if she wants to say anything at all before we do this. That's right. Did you want to say anything about our debt-free journey before we pay this thing off for the final time?
Oh, you have the thing open?
Oh yeah, I didn't want to take any time with that. I have everything pulled up, and all we're gonna need to do is click submit payment, and we're done. Did you want to say anything about this?
Yeah.
Do you miss? Are you gonna miss having debt? Do you think?
Of course not. Nobody wants to have debt ever. And the thing is about this, we listen this show all the time, and if you want to get back to debt, you can always go back. It's so easy, The only thing I want to say, could be a couple of things. First one is I was very skeptical of this journey, especially because I didn't want to get rid of my credit card. That was a hard one for me. I thought that I was like, if I get rid of my credit card, my life was gonna be over. And I used to have maybe 4 credit cards. The thing about me personally is that I've always been good with my money or my finances. So I was like, I don't have any problems having credit cards. Like I'm not crazy shopping and getting in debt just for the sake of using credit cards. That was never me. That wasn't a problem for me. But it's always that temptation, right? Just to have a credit card there, and then if you want to buy something, then you just use your credit card. And that was kind of hard. But then I was like, and then this my excuse was like, oh, what if I have an emergency with my mom, or something happened to her in Venezuela, like whatever. And the thing is, it doesn't really matter, because once you have an emergency fund, and once you have money to save, then there is no room for that fear of I need money for an emergency, because you already have that. You already fund it, and it's hard. And I think in terms of our relationship, definitely has been stronger. And I don't, it's just the matter of getting used to not having them. I don't miss credit cards at all. Like I don't, because I don't need them. If I want something, we just go and buy it, or we just say, you know what, let's just wait for next month, and that's it. It's not even that complicated. So it's been good. I don't miss credit cards at all. I don't need them.
You think are we ready to say goodbye to debt forever?
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So here's the moment of truth. I'm ready to do this. These student loans have been weighing heavy on my shoulder for over the past 7 or 8 years or so, and I remember so vividly thinking to myself like I was gonna be holding on to these forever, but today that's it. It's all over. So submit payment, and that's it. I'm gonna print this out just to be safe. But again, I encourage all of you to reach out if you want any more information or just somewhere to get started. But you can do this. Like I said, both of us have very normal jobs. But once we combine our incomes and are fully on the same page with everything, we've really been able to get ahead. So I wish you well, and happy 4th of July.
Happy 4th of July.
All right, and count it down. 3, 2, 1. We're debt free. All right.